seconds out, round 2. We do know the Coach of the Year, but we're not sure whether or not we can announce it on the stream, so we're going to keep it quiet until we're actually given an all clear. So we may or may not be able to bring you the National League Coach of the Year later on.
No, so the Player of the Year Awards, sponsored by the Ice Barn in Basingstoke, powered by True Hockey, says, remembering the thing Hayden told him to say. The winners they've got a little trophy, they've got a hat, and they get a kit bag.
A bag. Starting netminders for tonight's game. Firstly, for the designated home side, the Leeds Knights, it is none other than Sam Gospel. 44 starts on the season, a 34-9-1 record, 922 save percentage, 2.39 goals against average, 3 shutouts. He led the league in all 4 categories, in 3 of the 4 categories: wins, save percentage, goals against average. The only one he didn't was shutouts. For the visitors, it's Jordan Headley leading out the Lightning. He had 37 starts in the regular season, 26, 7 and 4, a 902 save percentage, 2.97 goals against average, and 1 shutout. Anthony, as the fans are getting loud in here, I'm somewhat expecting a barn burner.
Yes, I'm expecting a barn burner too. I mean, you mentioned about the netminders there. Of course, we know the quality of Jordan Headley. He spent some time, of course, in and around the GB national team, but his opposite number is arguably one. I mean, people talk about Kieran Brown as a standout player in this division. Sam Gospel is the standard when it comes to netminding in the National League. Many wonder how he has not managed to kind of crack in the League roster. Leeds Knights fans will not care a jot. He has been rock solid for years in the black, blue and gold.
One of these is going to take one last step and see us tomorrow to take on the Peterborough Phantoms as they're called in, and we are underway with the first period. Knights in black attacking to our right in the first period. Already an early whistle on an offside after just 10 seconds.
A big crescendo of noise and momentum. Everybody's off and everybody stops. It's always the way.
As it should be. Interesting when it came to line matchups. Tim Wallace put himself, originally was meant to be first line right wing on what was listed on the website. Gone down as third line centre now as Gallagher puts Nags under pressure. Always good when you can rely on an ex-NHL player on your third line.
It does feel like cheating somewhat, of course. 101 games in the National Hockey League for Tim Wallace.
Knights up this near side wall. Perry taken down by Wallace. Nags takes it over the blue line. Shot on goal is held by Gospel. Already a bit more physicality than we saw in the first semi-final on this first shift.
But we're not 40-something seconds in, so we await the goal and see whether that comes, of course. But yeah, Tim Wallace there trying to kind of set the tone in a playoff game, which is what you're wanting to see from your coach in that sense. Probably added to the third line for that, as a centre for that extra bit of stability, given the fact that Leeds will have the last change. Helps with the line matchups.
Barron wins the draw. Another heavy hit in the corner. Pass back to the blue line, evades Martelli. He'll have to go back and collect the puck. Tries to play along. That one's stopped immediately at the Knights' blue line by Nihl on that occasion. Venus hands off to Lawrence. Lawrence snaps a shot. That one wide of Gospel's right-hand post. Martelli kept in at the blue line. Finds Venus off the side of the cage. Back in front, chance. Big save with Gospel. Rebound. Puck bobbling everywhere. Martelli again. That one shot. Misses everyone. Ruckus on the front door. Saved by Gospel again. Martelli winds up. Fires through traffic. That one's wide. Venus with the rebound. Misses. A frenetic start for the Lightning there.
You'd expect this kind of thing from MK. We've talked about it in a bunch of different venues. Shock and awe always works really well for the MK Lightning, that offensive firepower. But we talked about Sam Gospel. He stood strong when it counted.
A reminder as well, if you weren't with us for the first semi-final, goal line technology is in effect today and tomorrow, as icing is called. We saw it used in that first semi-final on a goal for Thomas Malisinski. Here's some of the swathe of chances there for the Lightning.
Yeah, you can just see the puck just bobbling around on net. Gospel unable to kind of make a clean save, and you can see the screen that was in front of him there just before the replay cut off of just what MK are able to do when they kind of get everything flowing quickly. But this is why Sam Gospel is as good as he is. He sees it all the way.
Organised chaos, I think the best be described as at the moment. Boyce around the back of the net to the front. Chance stick lifted there. Howlett unable to get a shot away. Lightning will break. The pass finds its way to Cowney. He'll have Perry for company. Griffin. Skates back in his own zone. County collects his own blue line. He'll drive the centre lane. Offloads to Stewart. That one off the stick in front into the netting with a broken play.
Yeah, it's not a speculative shot at the best of occasions on that particular one, and it's a well, the MK fans not being complimented on their singing, as you can hear in the background.
There's a lot of them filling out the 2 blocks. They've even migrated partly into the Solway Sharks block as well, so make friends there, no doubt. Face off to the right of Gospel. Knights come away with it. Perry will just try and clear the blue line. Unable to on that occasion, as it's kept in by Gulliver. Battle against the boards. Finally goes the Knights' way. Griffin. Gulliver is the high man. Forces the Knights to start the rush. They cross the blue line again. Shot on goal. That one gongs Headley up high. Collected by Forsberg. Hayward snapping the shot on there. Stewart. Taken out by Endicott. And Headley with an equipment issue as players blown dead.
I think that shot there, as you say, gonged off of his mask, has set it a little loose, unfortunately, and then he's actually managed to catch the attention of the officials rather than what happens in the to Lambton Bow in the Elite League playoffs last week, where he just picked his helmet up and threw it away.
Neutral zone face off on the lead side of the ice. One by Braden. And against this near side, Nags stops Braden in his tracks. Baldwin forced back, able to shoulder his own blue line. Lightning very aggressive to start this game. Hitting the Knights back as Grinnell Park takes it away from Baldwin. Can't block the pass. Knights clear the blue line but lose possession.
Yeah, you feel for a little bit, given how aggressively the Milton Keynes have started this game. For Leeds, this is a moment now to just weather the storm, pardon the pun, when it comes to their opposition. You know that they know that this will have been coming, and it's just a case of not doing anything silly, not overcommitting, not jumping into plays. Kind of what we saw with Swindon, where they responded by trying to be physical and then left huge gaps that Peterborough were able to exploit as a result. Leeds know what to do in this situation. They do, however, just have to do it.
Dumped in by Griffin. Neely is there. Venus make sure to play the body a little high there. Knights ahead. Bissonette uses the screen, fired just wide of Headley's right-hand post. Martelli clears the blue line as it goes through Knights player's legs. Lawrence does a brilliant job battling towards the puck. Dylan Lawrence off the post! And another one fired towards Gospel's net. No one knows where the puck is. There it is. It's up at the blue line. I'm watching everything down here, and it's safely in the grasp of James Griffin.
What a shot that was from Dylan Lawrence. Great bit of play just to muscle his way through, but could only find the iron. Sam Gospel's probably just thanked that post in the moment that we've been looking away from it.
Rutkiss, long stretch pass, finds County. Dumped on ahead. Stewart gives checks. Perry is there with him. Offloads to Griffin. Perry not liking the attention given to him by the Lightning forward. Stewart over to Gulliver. Close to the man from Northern Ireland as that one's fired onto the pads of Gospel. Clear out the zone. Another heavy-handed hit there from the Lightning forward as it's on Howlett's stick. Howlett forced wide by Forsberg. Lightning the other way once more. County off the stick of Waser, but it bobbles ahead. Knights clear. Call for too many men called there, but that one was never going to be given.
Do you have to think the Lightning do need to be careful here? This aggression is a very, very useful tactic against a very high-octane offence like Leeds, but some of these hits are starting to come in a little bit high and a little bit too hard. They're in danger of getting called here.
Here comes Braden, drives to centre lane, shot fired wide, rebounded Gallagher, can't get it under control and trickles outside the blue line.
And we breathe 5 minutes in.
Yeah, this one being played at a fast and furious pace, much more different to what we saw in the first semi-final earlier this afternoon. Knights into the zone once more. Shot from Braden, saved by Headley. Into the corner. Solder. Collects and will lead the Lightning the other way again. Tipped on ahead. Bobbling towards goal. Venus taken down by Hare. The gap just closed off. The wrong time for him there. Martelli. Griffin finds Rutkiss. That one off the end of a stick straight to Kieran Brown, whose pass goes nowhere. Rutkiss brings it around the boards. Turned over in front. Tom's Rutkiss. Chance save Gospel. And the Knights get the rebound.
Massive reflex save from Sam Gospel.
Well, more shenanigans at centre ice. The Knights send over Bissonette. Rutkiss the other way. Rutkiss shot into the glove and out again as the Knights goal is taken off. Griffin and Neely carrying each other into the net.
Sam Gospel immediately in there reminding his teammate that not to do anything silly, especially with momentum very heavily in favour of the Knights at the moment. It's been a frantic first 6 and a bit minutes here from MK. You do wonder. You can see some of the hits coming in there. This is the chance from Dylan Lawrence. Fantastic play, beats the toe of Gospel but cannot beat the post.
Are the Lightning going to regret not taking one or two of these chances?
You always regret not being clinical in moments like this, Joe, especially in big games like this, because MK know as well as anybody that Leeds have the power to turn it on at a moment's notice, and they will, whether it's Bissonette, whether it's Brown, whether it's Barron, whether it's Hayward, whether it's Buesa or Braden, they know that they have to be on for 60 minutes here. They do not have a choice, because Leeds have the quality to take this away from them at a moment's notice.
Call for the ice staff to the Knights goal. There's this down there. They do lose the zone as well. Lightning off of the exchange of views, shall we say, between Neely and Griffin there.
Yeah, so Griffin sort of shoving Neely into the post.
Just want to see what the issue is down the Leeds end of the ice. It only says 6:19 gone in the first. Looks like maybe blood, considering we got the shovels out.
Yes, I did wonder for a second there whether there's an issue with the goal peg, but clearly something on the ice that shouldn't be there, and both teams kind of getting a free timeout. For me, this is a massive thing for the Knights here, because it's just giving them an opportunity just to calm down, just to reset. A few simple words here from Ryan Aldrich and Davey Lawrence on the bench, just to say, look, you've weathered this, calm down, now it's our turn to start trying to push out a little bit. Let's make them work a little bit harder. There's been good patience from the Knights, because they knew this was coming. The thing for MK, you worry sometimes about gassing yourself out, just coming too hard, too fast at the other team and kind of running out of ideas, because if you offer everything inside the first 10 minutes and have nothing else left to give, well, that plays straight into the Knights' game plan, because they will find the holes.
It does look like it's both an issue with blood and with one of the goal pegs by the looks of it, as that is being seen to off to our left.
Well, you've got one half right and I've got the other half right, so it all works out for the best.
Seems like a good idea to just take the opportunity and say, don't forget, we are back here tomorrow afternoon. Firstly, 12 p.m. face-off, the Billingham Stars against the Slough Jets in the Division 1 Championship game. Game 1 of that was last Sunday at Ice Sheffield. It was fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. Obviously, to get your tickets to that, Billingham going for the Grand Slam of all trophies. And then tomorrow, 4 p.m, we come back here for the National League playoff final. The Peterborough Phantoms booked their spot earlier. And who will see them there? The Leeds Knights or the MK Lightning? As the issue, well, it seems sorted. Gospel doesn't seem too happy with whatever's been fixed.
Fixed enough for the officials, but maybe not fixed enough for him. Unfortunately, he doesn't get a say in it.
We'll go back and play once the officials have left us, without sounding all, test match special on everything. We've got a beach ball flying past our eye line at the moment.
It's keeping us on our toes. We can see through the screen as well.
Yeah. Well, the beach ball's now on the bench, so that's getting popped. Knights out the zone. Brown tries to put the move on Salisbury, goes through the legs. That one met by Forsberg. Lightning the other way. Cowney into the zone. Cowney with the chance! And Jordan Cowney rips one glove high on Sam Gospel. The Lightning lead County's first of the playoffs, 6:40 gone.
Well, you think with all the pressure that they'd had, with everything that they'd thrown at the Leeds Knights, we talked about the fact they needed to be clinical. Gospel's probably a little bit too far across to his right to cover the short side shot, expecting something fancy, and it just opened up the angle for him to go high glove on Sam Gospel. The Lightning have got their reward.
One of those things there where I think the perfect sequence of events happened there. Gospel pinching too far over, the D-men too far apart, and just opened the lane for Jordan County. And a player of that quality is quite happy to take it. How do the Knights respond? Field plays on ahead, dumps it into the corner. County from Gulliver, the Lightning's first goal. Haywood played ahead. Between Boyce and Solder. Solder wins the battle. Wallace tries to find Grinnell Park. That one's back on the stick of Boyce. One man versus four white shirts. Can only play in the corner. Haywood plays the body on Wallace. The Lightning are able to bring it clear. Grinnell Park. Through centre ice. Fired into the glove of Gospel. He'll hold on.
Yes, Grinnell Park doing the simple thing there again. Put it on net. Testing the glove again as Sam Gospel, who's obviously just been beaten on that glove side, so important for him, if nothing else, to get something on that. The thing for the Lightning is they're still pressing, which is an important thing to do in this circumstance. Ask Romford about Leeds making comebacks.
Quite right. You can't afford to take your foot off the gas as Martelli drives to the goal front. Gospel forced into another save early on in this semi-final. Endicott pinned to the boards. Ethan Hare able to get it clear for at least a brief second. Gallagher taking out. The Lightning fans are loud right now. Martelli loses out to Gallagher. Quickly the other way it comes. Rutgers ahead to Venus, off the end of his stick and out the other way. Ethan Hare drops it off for Gallagher. Lovely little move to get around Forsberg from Gallagher. Forces a big save out of Headley. First real chance for the Knights. And now Ollie Endicott and Patrick Forsberg. Forsberg's gone for Endicott here.
Well, they've dropped the gloves and the linesmen are immediately in to back that up as Jordan Griffin, I think Innes Gallagher down there in the corner.
James Griffin.
James Griffin.
Getting your Griffins mixed up.
Too many Griffins. My apologies, everybody. By the way, those two have had a hack and a whack at each other and just going to skate away from it, apparently, and no one's going to notice.
Endicott and Forsberg will go to the boxes.
And I think Leeds will take that, taking out the import defenseman for the Lightning.
I think very much a case of understanding the assignment there from Ollie Endicott.
Well, you can see there again. It's another one. It's like we talked about in that first game as well with Malazinski. Endicott's got a right to go in for that challenge, and obviously they think that the stick's been left in a little bit too much there, but we'll see whether it's going to be 5-on-5 in coincidentals.
8:09 on the clock regardless. Face-off will be in the Lightning zone. Also, that doesn't confirm anything to us.
Now the question will be, does Forsberg get an instigator penalty? Because there's 2 minutes on the board for him. Or for some,
I think it is Forsberg, but they've put the wrong number up on the board.
He's 37, isn't he, Forsberg? Yes.
Yeah. Which is interesting because when you actually look at the rulebook, instigators are a lot more than just 2. It will be a Leeds Knights power play. 2 minutes of Patrick Forsberg on the clock. Knights on a power play this year scored 63 goals at a 32.31 success rate. Matt Barron, a National League record 21 of those. Lightning on the penalty kill, they give up 48 goals, 76.47 success rates. Front, there we go! Matt Barron, easy as you like, slots it home on the power play. He's been lethal on the man advantage all year, and there's further proof. 8:18, the Knights tied up.
We talked about the fact that Leeds can turn it on when they need to, and they have turned it on the power play. Simple stuff. Barron in between the defensemen at the top of the crease, finds the 5-hole of Jordan Headley. Tie game. You knew the Knights were going to score, but that one is a proper kick in the shins for the Lightning, who'd done so well in the opening part of this first period. They should be further ahead, and instead it's a tie game with 11:42 to play in the first.
First high-quality chance the Knights have generated Goes straight through Jordan Headley. Matt Barron, one of the premier snipers in the National League, shows it again. Why you give that man space on a man advantage, I do not know. Icing called on that one.
Yeah, the Lightning man's just muscled his way in front of Jordan Boyce there. So well done, Aiden Nags, on the hustle on that one.
So we've been told Patrick Forsberg 2+2 for roughing. Ollie Endicott 2 minutes for roughing were the calls. We'll bring you the goal assist when we can.
That feels generous.
A little bit. Face off to Gospel's left, won by the Knights. Howlett collects the puck. McMullen. Hayward. The Knights have stemmed the tide. How do they continue the momentum is the question now.
And how do MK respond, having done so well to then concede inside 8 seconds of the penalty kill?
Big hit on Howlett against the board. Salisbury gets centre ice line, dumps it in. Neely will get there first. Salisbury plays the forecheck, plays the body there. 9 minutes gone in period number 1. Icing called on that one. Barron from Braden and Bissonette, the Knights' first goal.
B to B to B to boom.
Thank you. I don't think that was quite the Shakespeare quote. Face off to Gospel's right. Knights come away with it once more. Lawrence. Doing his best, he throws it towards goal. McMullen is hauled down. And the Knights are going to go back on the man advantage. Ross Venus is going to sit 2 for cross-checking, 9:23.
Well, Venus was unhappy that he got knocked down by McMullen when the puck was sort of close to the two of them. Venus has then retaliated and, well, he's been caught hook, line and sinker there.
As the old adage goes, they never see the first one, but they will always see the retaliation on it. Well, the Knights 1 for 1 early. I just about got the stats out in time before they scored, so I'm going to be quiet this time. Face off to Headley's left.
Interested to see how the MK defence adapt, because obviously they need to respect what's going on around them, but eventually you know where Matt Barron's about to go.
Knights win the draw. McMullen. Cross the line, shot saved by Headley. Brown on that occasion. Braden down low, able to shove it towards Bissonette. That was just thrown goalwards, no one in a black shirt particularly there. Lightning bringing out the corner, they'll be launched up ice.
They've made it past the 8 seconds, which is a good start for MK, and that's great from Rutgers there.
Rutgers able to take away from McMullen for a second, at least. One high forecheck on the penalty kill. The Knights breach the blue line once more. Barron. Back to McMullen. Bissonette below the goal line, looking for an option. Goes to the front of the net. There's the chance. Big block by Archie Salisbury in front.
I don't think the man made great contact as he tries again.
One cleared out the zone. 50 seconds left on the Venus Minor. Knights just make sure they get the right personnel on the ice for the end of this man advantage as Neely offloads to Gallagher. Thrown around the boards. Boycer is there. Return to sender. Gallagher unable to get away from Griffin. Bobbling puck. Boycer away from Stewart. 15 seconds left. And that one knocked loose by Martelli and the Lightning clear.
Really good penalty kill work there by Max Stewart and Malik Martelli down there in the corner.
Knights again over the blue line as the Lightning returns to full strength. Howlett turns away from one. Man down low, Matt Hayward, and that one was fired off the pads from Boycer. Hayward by far the better option there. Not taken. The Knights will ice the puck. 8:22 remaining. Forsberg and Endicott return to the game.
Yes, Forsberg potentially with a little bit of buyer's remorse on that one, given that it allowed the Knights to get back into the game. But ultimately, MK have now killed off that second power play for the Knights, which, you know, they can take some heart from and try and look to press on from here. The question, of course, now is that Leeds do feel like they have their tails up a little bit.
Knights come away with the puck. Brown gets it back from Howlett. Kieran Brown, the two men to beat. Easily does it, and that one's off the mask of Headley again. Doesn't matter how you save it, just as long as it stays out for the Lightning netminder. Thrown ahead, that one kept in the blue line by Nax. Venus finds Gulliver, tries to shovel one in. Gospel unaware of where that one went. Off the pads and out the paint is the answer. Pass leaves the zone. Well, just below us against the boards. Gulliver loses out to Brown. Kieran Brown one-on-one, snaps the shot. That's past the blocker of Headley.
Nice idea there by Brown as well, trying to hold up play so people could join him, but it just didn't come off for him as he heads off for the change.
Solder barrels his way up ice, offloads to Hamill. And then coming off the change, Hamill finds a shot on goal, saved by Gospel again. Field loses out in the park, and the Knights go the other way. Gallagher played on ahead. I'll roll through all the way to Forsberg. Endicott loses the puck once more, and it gets a bit scrappy in this last minute and a half or so. Endicott stopped at the blue line by Forsberg again. Has to leave the puck on the delayed offside. Grinnell Park will put his speed to use as he throws that one ahead. No one there in a white shirt following him in. Kept in by Forsberg at blue line, only as far as Dylan Hare. Big coming together at the Leeds bench with Salisbury and Endicott. Venus offloads to Lawrence. Dylan Lawrence off the blocker of Gospel and into the netting. Big hit, makes big play.
Yeah, massive, lovely, lovely moment there as well. So often in hockey these days, you see these sort of big hits where guys will step into each other. As you can see, they're just beautifully timed by Archie Salisbury. And so often you see guys will then start to, sort of kick off and will have fights off the back of it. Ultimately, Archie Salisbury makes a massive hit. The space opens up. Dylan Lawrence gets the shot, but an equally good save from Sam Gospel, as the face-off has collapsed in around everybody there.
Yeah, everyone's encroaching on that one.
The linesman just wants some space to work.
Lightning win the draw. Martelli collects from his own blue line. Finds Griffin. Tries to go for center ice. That one's read like a book by Matt Hayward and forces a save out of Jordan Headley.
Yeah, pretty routine save. Headley's pretty square to it, but you can't blame the veteran for taking his chances here on his last weekend as a hockey player.
Face off to Headley's left. 6:13 remaining in the first. Hayward wins a draw. Boycer back to Neely. And away to Howlett. Neely pinching in off the blue line. Try and hold off Rutkiss. Tries to spin away, loses an edge. Want to go around the boards. Martelli does well to get there ahead of Hayward. Griffin finds Rutkiss. Little pocket of space at the Lightning blue line. Plays himself in a bit of trouble there. Matt Barron bearing down on him on the forecheck, but the Lightning able to clear. Cowney brilliantly picked up at the blue line. And that one trickles wide of Gospel's right-hand post.
Yeah, I think the defenseman managed to get a stick in there. Took some of the spice off of the shot, so good work by Neely.
Knights from their own end now. Neely on the breakout. Fired across to Brown. And gone straight at Ben Solden. There's now room for the Lightning. Stewart cuts inside two, looking for help off the bench. Cycles it around. Puck finds way around to Wallace. Loses out on the tie-up. Brown collects. Picked up by Hamill. Perry bumps him off the puck. Stops any kind of attempt for MK.
Good work there by Bailey Perry. Took Tim Wallace out of the play, took somebody else out of the play on the blue line to just stop some attacks.
Fans, there's a penalty called here on the Knights as Hamill crosses the blue line, snaps a shot over the bar, bounces back towards Grinnell Park. The penalty will be called. Half watching what's going on, and the penalty call. 15-24. Jordan Griffin is going to take a seat.
Yes, the referee's calling bits and pieces off the play there, roughing the call.
2 for roughing for Jordan Griffin. I'll do this quick now. Milton Keynes Lightning on the power play this year. 45 goals at a 23.81 success rate. The Knights penalty kill, the number 1 in the league. 36 goals against, 81.82 success rates.
Quite a decent number of short-handed goals as well. I understand for the...
It's been a habit of the Knights in the last 2 years to score a lot short-handed, and this might be why, as it's immediately turned over to Matt Hayward. Hayward will do his best to hold off Martelli. Rutkiss over to help. It takes 3 white shirts to remove the puck from Matt Hayward's stick. Lightning the other way. That one's just behind Dylan Lawrence. Good work from the Canadian as it's thrown back towards Rutkiss. Rutkiss with a chance. Tries to sneak one in near side on Gospel. Shuts the blocker down and he'll hold on.
Great idea there by Tom's Rutkiss as well, where you think they pulled Gospel one way and then the puck beating the other on the Lightning goal, trying to draw him back into the centre of his net to open up the near post. It's a great idea by Rutkiss. It just hasn't come off. Gospel just equal to him on that occasion.
Lightning win the draw. Venus walks outside the hash marks in front of the net, blocked by McMullen. I'm saying Lightning on the power play. Goals have been shared around by everyone. There's no real standout on it, apart from just the depth of talent, as that one's fired wide by Lawrence. Venus. Back high, finds his way to Martelli. Winds up, draws a man wide. Stick lost in that one for Matt Barron. Another save for Gospel early in this power play. Shot in traffic! And that is how you get back on top in a playoff semi-final. Dylan Lawrence, 16-25, answers back with a power play goal of their own.
Well, you think the Lightning were feeling a little bit hard done by on the extra one for Forsberg and on the penalty for Ross Venus. They get one that they deserve. The Knights have just collapsed down a little bit too far. Nobody out fast enough to challenge Lawrence. He has time and space to pick the top of the net. And the Lightning, who've had the majority of the shots in this first period, will argue that they should be back on top, and they are back on top. 7th
of the playoffs for Dylan Lawrence. He missed a lot of time during the regular season due to injury. Only able to play to 31 games, still scored 20 goals in that run. 3.5 minutes to go here in the first. Gulliver. That one off the shoulder of Gospel. Knights look for a response as Howlett brings it down away from County. Waser takes it away from Nax. Towards the front of the net. Knights forward tied up.
Cries there from the Knights. They feel that Howlett is being held.
Waser battling off the side of the net on that occasion. Thread the needle pass to Max Stewart. Bundled down unceremoniously there by Fugalis by the looks of it. Howlett the other way. Drops it off, offside call. Waser jumps the gun.
Well, end-to-end few moments there. As you see, he was there just at the top of the crease. Waser has his stick tied up and still manages to get it free enough to take the shot. And then MK go north-south very, very quickly.
Lawrence from Hamill and Venus, the Lightning's second goal. Knights win the draw. Perry misplays that one. That will let Grinnell Park have a sniff. It's quickly recovered by the Knights. Hare dumps it on ahead. Forsberg will collect. Leaves it for Salisbury.
Forsberg needs to be careful there. That's an elbow he's just put up.
And a little high, and that one will be icing.
You've got the right to defend your position, but you do need, like I said, there's a few hits in both directions now where guys are getting elbows up, putting elbows into hits as well. They do need to be careful. The referees have, you know, not kept the whistles in their pockets when they've needed to call stuff, but a few guys are walking a very, very fine line at the moment.
Tied up amongst the official there. Forsberg gets it away. Puck will trickle all the way through to Griffin. Cleared up ice. Forsberg takes it away from Brown. Wallace will help it away. Brown finds Bissonette. No, read by Venus. Might create another turnover. Salisbury. Thanks for the passing option. Rutkiss with the layoff to Lawrence. Dylan Lawrence to the front of the net. That would have been absolute highlight reel. Rutkiss. Dispossessed by Bissonette in his enormously long stick as he winds up, fires on net. That one's off the stick of Headley. Howlett tied up by Martelli. The puck to be cleared.
Certainly from the Knights, it does feel a little bit like they just feel like they need to trust the process. They're just going back to the well, trying what's worked for them the entire season. They haven't won 2 trophies for no reason, but it does feel like the Lightning have an answer.
Final minute first. Martelli offloads to County. Gospel high, almost bundled in. Martelli again. That one passed down low to Stewart, misses him.
Jordan Boacer almost scoring the own goal of own goals there.
Once cleared the zone, Gulliver finds Griffin. Chipped on ahead. Griffin will play it himself. McMullen. 30 seconds left. Hare over the blue line. Offloads to Hayward. Gets the return pass. 4 white shirts. Hayward with a shot blocked by Rutkiss. The cavalry did not arrive in time on that occasion. Hayward again into the zone. Hit by Griffin. Gallagher loses out to Rutkiss. And the Lightning will hold up and kill the last few seconds of what has been a very entertaining first as Ethan Hare runs in on the buzzer. That one quickly blown down.
Well, it does feel somewhat ironic of Milton Keynes to complain about an act of physicality, given how physical they've been in this first period. We can see that chance there, where he just Gospel drawn all the way out of his crease, and it just bounces off a piece of Jordan Boacer and trickles wide.
Parting throat moment there for the Knights. Well, 20 minutes gone. The Lightning, it's 2-1. On another day, they'll feel like they should be 3 or 4 up. They have been the dominant side in this first period. The Knights did very well to weather the storm. They took the opportunity when they got it on the power play. Now it's a case of how do we adapt in this second period? What do we need to do? How can we break past this Lightning forecheck at the moment? Yeah,
it is press from the MK Lightning at the moment, and the top 6 for Leeds have just struggled really to kind of create an awful lot. We saw what happened though, that tiny bit of space that appeared on the power play. 8 seconds it took for Matt Barron to restore a little bit of parity before Dylan Lawrence got the Lightning's second goal. The Lightning are ahead, justifiably so, I would say, on the balance of play for the first 20 minutes. But yes, the question, of course, is Leeds can adapt, Leeds will adapt, but will it work?
Well, find out answers to that question and probably many others as we go through the weekend. We're back with you with the second period in about 15 minutes' time. The Planet Ice Skydome in Coventry for period number 2 of semi-final number 2 of our weekend, where it is the Leeds Knights 1, the Milton Keynes Lightning 2. And Anthony, we've said it was pretty much domination from the start for the Lightning for most of that period. The Knights got an opportunity. They had a small window there with the power play, capitalised on it. No lead is safe, as you said, against the Knights. The Knights have come back from a lot bigger holes than this, but they need to turn it around. The shot count in that first period, 9 on Jordan Headley, 19 on Sam Gospel.
Well, whilst it's nice to be right about how good a netminder Sam Gospel is at the start of the game to, you know, really help our pre-game preamble to let people know what they might be in store for. I mean, we talked about the Knights weathering a storm. That is dinghy in deep waters levels worth of weathering a storm there from the Knights, but that's why they're the champions. Being 2-1 down after 20 minutes isn't an issue, but they do need to get some more out of their top 6, I feel, at the moment. Kieran Brown's been kept out of the game, had little flashes from Matt Bissonette. Obviously, Matt Barron scored the goal, but otherwise hasn't impacted the game quite as much as he would have liked to. We've seen a good little spells out of Finn Braden and Innes Gallagher, but we just need a little bit more from the Knights going forward at the moment. The question, of course, from an MK perspective, that first period was brilliant. Really aggressive forecheck. Did some really, really good work. Walked the line a little bit in terms of the physicality, but they did really, really well with it and were able to kind of keep in control. But the question is, can they do that for another 40 minutes?
That is the question. It's very high intensity, very high forecheck, as you said. Playing the body a lot. There was a lot of heavy hits both ways on both teams. As I say, the question is, can the Lightning keep it up for another 40 minutes? And the Knights are relentless, to quote a famous YouTube stream on a Wednesday night. And now is the time where they have to prove that they are such. Can they get it back to level terms? Can the Lightning be a bit more clinical? We'll find out over the next half an hour or so in this middle stanza.
Well, I don't want to chuck out a cliche, but a cliche is not a cliche when it's true. The next goal's massive in this one, Joe. It really is going to dictate so much of the momentum going forward into the rest of this game. Because if the Knights go 3-1 down, do they shrink, or does it become a bit like Nelson in The Simpsons, and the reaction comes as a result?
It's not as bad as the cliche used last Sunday in Sheffield, where I was told that the next goal would win the game in overtime.
It is technically correct.
Technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
Well, we are almost ready and underway. Check with the goal judges. We're just missing one. We'll finally get them herded together as we are almost ready to get underway with period number 2. The referee calls them in. And away we go. Tim Wallace winning the opening puck. That was Lightning once again open up with this third line. Ed Nags gets the puck stuck on a bit of still drying ice following the ice cut. Knights the other way. Braden can't get past the blue line. He will collect it on the turnover. Tries to get it through Nags. Drops off to Endicott. Endicott's shot. That's off the Zeus on Headley's chest, and he'll hold on.
Did wonder a little bit there about the offside. I think Finn Braden might have gotten away with one there. But either way, it's felt kindly for Ollie Endicott. Had to kind of rein it in before getting the shot away, and just allowed Jordan Headley that extra moment to get himself square to the shot coming in. And as you say, found nothing but logo, so no go.
Hey. Lightning clear the zone. Neely back to collect. Venus bearing down on him. Delayed offside, so he has to get back over the blue line. Brown dumped to the ice by Lawrence on that occasion. Rutkiss plays on ahead. Neely finds Barron. Scoring Knights' one and only goal so far. That pass broken up. Barron will collect it again himself. Quickly stopped once again. Rutkiss pushes it ahead into the corner. McMullen will have nothing but time to collect the puck.
You do wonder whether Milton Keynes were here to watch a little bit of that first semi-finals. A lot of Peterborough-style sticks in lanes here from the Lightning to break up some of the long passes.
Solid beats Bissonette to the puck. Gallagher and Emily get under control. Icing signalled and called as Perry beats Stewart to it. Already a very different opening to this period.
Yes. And potentially as well with the long change, that little bit of energy conservation that didn't necessarily need to feed into the first period, where everything was a little bit closer. Also as well, potentially if you're Milton Keynes, you don't necessarily want to tip your entire hand. You're leading, you need to keep the lead, and if Leeds know exactly what's coming all the time, it does make it easier to counteract.
Forsberg clears the zone for the Lightning. That one could be another icing call. Griffin takes a hit. Probably no icing call there. That one is launched up ice. Forsberg being able to play that way before the goal line on that occasion. Fired over to Salisbury. Through centre ice in County. Drops off for Gulliver. Pocket of space quickly shut down there by the Knights. Forsberg. That one is poor and out of the zone.
Great stick in there from Bailey Perry, killing off a Gilters chance. He's been really impressive so far in this game.
Forsberg again, off the boards. Grinnell Park settles it down for Wallace. Cuts into the zone. Meeting of the minds between Wallace and Perry there. Another brilliant bit of play from Bailey Perry. And Carter Hamill making friends in front of the net.
A surprise to absolutely nobody. Carter Hamill absolutely revels in this kind of play. Just like his brother, the pair of them together are two of my favourite players to watch in the National Division. Utterly fearless. Although Tim Wallace at this point must be wondering if he has a Bailey Perry-shaped shadow at this point.
Face off to Gospel's right. 2:14 gone in the second. Wallace wins the draw. That one immediately blown dead off the drop.
Tim Wallace not quite liking the explanation he's got there, but the linesman's in charge and not him, so they'll have another go.
One more time with feeling. This time, Finn Braden wins the draw. Baldwin is there to clear. Ethan Hare. That one stays in the zone. That was very close from where we're stood. Baldwin helped around. Knight the other way. Endicott up the far hand side. Sobs around at Ethan Hare. Wallace maybe a case for interference on that one. Choosing to play the man instead of the puck. We'll just clear it up on us.
Not the sort of hit that's ever really going to be called in the playoffs, given how close it was to the play, but as you say, potentially in the regular season, that one might have been called.
Offside signalled there as Hamill receives some attention from the Knights forwards. Dylan Hare back to collect. Lightning can get a change in.
Positively sedate, given the start of the first period.
Fast and furious was the description for the first period. This one is more snail's pace so far. Ethan Hare will go back to Dylan. And against the Knights bench. Into the corner, Martelli. Stretch pass broken up by Barron. That'll trickle away. Bissonnette can't get there ahead of Griffin. Dangerous turnover chance now for Lightning. That one is a bad pass from Rutgers. Can't get it away to Dylan Lawrence. Wide open at the top of the face-off circles. Lawrence, fans on that pass? Well, we'll say he meant it. That one broken up by Barron. Brown. One man to beat James Griffin. Loses the handle on the puck. Turnover again. Back to Brown. Straight in and fired wide over the glove of Headley.
Massive chance there for Kieran Brown, and just the radar ever so slightly off on that occasion, just missing the top corner by not very far.
McMullen bundled down by Venus, the blue line. McMullen in. Drops off in front. Headley throws himself across a broken stick there. Another chance. Neely winds up, fires. Barron chance saved Headley. Stewart can't clear, kept in by McMullen again. Down low, bodies everywhere. Neely finds Twine! Organised chaos, and the Knights tie it up, 24-45.
What a sequence of play there, Joe. Desperation moves from all sides. Massive saves there from Jordan Headley, and eventually it comes out, and Bo Neely says, thank you very much, I see that top corner.
Bo Neely's second of the playoffs gets us back on level terms.
And just after we said how sedate it had been.
It's been sedate. And the Knights sensing the moment there and absolutely taking it.
And now we breathe to do it all again.
Yes, all tied up with 35 to go. We've been here already this afternoon. Boycer plays on ahead, gets it thrown back at him, and then stands on the puck, unfortunately for him.
It does feel like the puck handling in this second period. I don't know whether the ice is particularly dried very well, but guys on both sides are finding it really difficult to handle the puck very well.
Especially in the first 5 minutes. Outlet loses out. Nihl from Bissonette and Barron, the Knights' second goal. It's thrown ahead into the zone. Forsberg collects. Up the far side wall. Here come the Lightning. Human skills in front. Gulliver, lovely drop pass. Chance for Cowney on the wraparound. Back to Forsberg. How has that not gone in? Forsberg goes high over the despairing dive of Gospel and the wall of Knights in front.
With all of that to aim at, and I don't know how he managed to miss.
Waser the other way. Howlett in front! How's that not gone in? Jordan Headley! That's an absolute worldie of a save from the netminder.
That is daylight robbery at the Skydome. What a save from Jordan Headley. We talked about how he'd been pulled in the first game of the playoffs, how he'd lost the net to Will Curling, and we said that you had to count on him in these moments. That is why you call on Jordan Headley.
One end to the other, both teams with massive chances to take the lead.
Well, we did say it would be a firefight.
Gallagher shot that one again. That's the third time Jordan Headley's trying to save it with his face.
Clearly testing out the cage on that, on his net-minding helmet this weekend is Jordan Headley. Value for money, clearly.
14 and change remaining in the second. Just as we question the energy levels, it's amped up in the last 2 minutes. Lightning on the breakout. Wallace. Drop pass in front field. Another big block in front again. This time looks like Dylan Hare. Braden up to Ethan Hare. Stretch pass just wide of Gallagher. Icing called.
Well, yeah, so we said how almost like they took the period break and then took the first couple of minutes of the second period just to have a little bit of an extra rest, and then all of a sudden, all gas, no brakes for the last few moments in the second period. But boy, we've been treated to some excellent hockey in the last 26 and a bit minutes worth of game time.
I tell both teams trying to steal the initiative at the moment. Sensing a big moment as Martelli will throw that one around the boards. Griffin pinching in, return to sender, that'll be jumped on by Gallagher and clears the zone. Rutgers under duress of Braden. Martelli can't get there fast enough. Gallagher now with a chance, front bobbling puck, Martelli with a break up and luckily away from goal.
Great work from the two Knights youngsters there, Gallagher and Braden, but also brilliantly read by Martelli. That's why he's one of the best defensemen in this league.
Rutgers can't get away from McMullen, back high. Bissonette jumps on it, cleared. Brown gets her ahead of Salisbury. Pushing to the corner, Forsberg. High round the glass. Kept in by McMullen again, Bissonette. Will throw that one up into the netting. And that one will stay inside the zone.
Yeah, Mr. Matthews signalling there down by the net that it's taken a deflection off of something, so Knights will get the offensive zone draw. And like you said, it's about both teams trying to sort of seize the initiative. It feels like there's a big moment coming, but it's just when it's going to appear at this point.
Tied up. Finally knocked loose. Brown gets there ahead of Forsberg. The big fin pins him to the boards. Bissonette battling with Salisbury. And Stewart comes away with the puck.
Been very impressed with Archie Salisbury today. He's generally been doing a job keeping Kieran Brown quiet, which is a very difficult thing to do.
Gulliver will skate at Nihl. Forsberg is the furthest Lightning player forward. Stewart tries to leave it for Forsberg. Picked up by Bissonette. Brown will carry it and hand it to Barron. Out of the zone, 3-on-2. Matt Barron drops it off for Nihl with a chance. That one fired high into the netting.
Well, you go with the hot hand sometimes and leaving that for Nihl, who's already found the net in this game. But again, the speed and the intensity is picked up. Just quick transition there from the Knights. And Barron there just with the drop off to leave it for Nihl to fire. But yeah, it's not quite as accurate this time around as, again, players not listening to the linesman on the face-offs.
Hayward wins the draw. Quickly lost out to Nags. Back to Griffin. Fire through traffic. No one knows who it is. Hayward battling with Ben Solder. Lightning the other way. Hamill. Into the corner. Field can't get there ahead of Griffin. Solder. Away from one. Solder. Again, that pass broken up. Hayward, a very good job on the defensive end so far. Solder again. Trying just to drive the play at the moment. Instead, almost drives it the other way. Matt Cowlett reading that pass. Quickly broken up by the Lightning D-men. Turned over once more. Hamill leaves it for Lawrence. Hamill trickle through to Perry. Bounce off of the boards. Takes it away from Martelli and out the zone.
Great sort of a great shift there from Ben Solder, just breaking up plays at one end, battling in the corners at the other. That's the sort of thing that the Lightning are going to need to get back on top here. It feels like the Knights have started to get a bit of a read on what the Lightning are trying to do.
Wallace throws it into the danger area, but blocked by a Knight stick. Tipped on head by Venus on that occasion. Trickle towards the goal. Perry ties Wallace up. Goes as far as Martelli. Wallace back net front side. Immediately given back to him. There's a sort of patty cake between the two Lightning players at the moment. Lawrence to the front of the net. Gospel with a stick out. Almost disastrous again.
That's a penalty.
That one is fired up into the netting. Ross Venus very much playing snitch there. Immediately pointing to who threw it out of play.
It's one of those penalties that, you know, nobody likes to call this delay of the game puck over the glass, but that one was, well, that one was as clear as day.
29:38 time of the penalty as Ethan Hare takes a seat for 2 minutes or less.
You know what he's trying to do there. He's just trying to wrap it off the boards, get a bounce away from somebody, and, well, yeah, when the golf game comes, he's going to be impressed with that drive.
Face off to Gospel's right. Knights come away with it. McMullen. Pinned in the corner by Stewart and Cowney. Bissonette tries to bring it out the pile and does, and just evades the grasp. Forsberg, foot race to the puck. It's going to be won by Matt Barron. Wraparound attempt on the backhand and another big save. Jordan Headley flashes out the pad.
He'd come out to try and play it and thought better of it, and then found himself having to get back in position very quickly.
Cowney spins away from Barron. Leaves it for Gulliver. Lovely from Harry Gulliver. And that one kick save Gospel. Forsberg across to Gulliver. Cowney spins away from Brown. Shot wound up, fired, save Gospel. Chance in front, big block Noah McMullen. Still battling for it down low. Forsberg will get it back high. Minute gone on the man advantage. Cowney from the face-off dot to the front of the net. Save Gospel. No! Throwing it in! The deflection in front. And Max Stewart puts the Lightning back ahead, 30-46.
And he'd done great work battling in front of the net to give himself the opportunity to get there as well. Taking hacks and whacks from the defenseman from Gospel as well. And Gospel was just slightly off balance there with James Griffin in front, causing a bit of chaos as well. There's some discussion going on here as to whether potentially they might want to have a look at this, if nothing else, because the contact.
Are we going to get a look again?
Well, the contact on Gospel just before he has to try and make the save has slightly knocked him off of balance, and the conversation will be potentially about whether it has impeded his ability to make the save. It looks like they are not going to bother having the conversation, though. And for me, Gospel had the ability to right himself. And unfortunately, he's just been caught and the puck slipped through the 5-hole. 3-2 MK.
Trickling through the Leeds Knights netminder and in. Lightning answer back again. Can the Knights tie it up for a third time in this semi-final? Howlett away from Wallace. Fired to Blazer. Turns away from Nax. Stewart unassisted is the call. Feels more a case of they can't remember who got the assist. Wallace, blown tyre from a nice defenseman. Wallace in off the shoulder of Gospel. All the way back to the blue line. Here we go again, Boycer. To the front, that one blocked. Man pitching in from the blue line. Perry through traffic, save Headley.
It's all pinballing all over the place now. The Knights, knowing that they need to score, that intensity's been ratcheted up again.
I think we should insult slow styles of play more often. It actually wakes them up a bit.
I can't help but feel that somewhere all of the energy being expended at the moment, that the Peterborough Phantoms are smiling somewhere watching this.
Played up the far side wall. Rutgers helps it on its way. Icing waved off. Perry gets there ahead of field. Martelli over to Griffin. Here come the Lightning once more. Over the line, Rutgers. Little stop and go. Forces Perry away. Rutgers will drive to the net, poked off his stick by Gospel. County. Back to Griffin. Gallagher gets there ahead of Martelli. Can't clear. Martin turns and flies back down. Gives it away. Knights once more. Braden away from Martelli. Brilliant poke check by the Lightning defenseman. Griffin able to shovel that up the ice. County gains centre ice, dumps it into the corner. Gulliver bumps off it by Nihl. Salisbury given away. Braden, 33. Runs into the Lightning D-man. Gulliver drops it off to County. Trailing forward is Stewart.
Just couldn't control that pass there, ends up kicking it into the corner, and if he'd taken it in stride, he had a good chance for a shot there.
Brown helps it on its way, clears the zone once more. Solder. Push on ahead, Knights try and keep the pressure on. Barron to Bissonnette. Turnover again. Ambitious pass, almost pays off. Max Stewart, he's gone back, he wasn't offside. McMullen to Bissonnette. Through centre ice and Brown. Forced back, carries it over the blue line. Under the pressure from Ed Nags. Broken up again by Wallace. Lawrence in, shot saved, Gospel, rebound cleared, Neely.
Well, as the Knights have upped their intensity, the Lightning are answering.
Going into the opposite corner. Rutgers will put pressure on McMullen, but the Knights D-man is able to clear. Actual centre ice broken up by Howlett. Kicks ahead, that'll wash off any icing call. Howlett away from one, drops it off for Boycer. Nags will hold his man against the glass, leaves it for Hayward. Perry from the blue line, that one blocked. Headley had no idea, luckily it trickles through to County and the Lightning are away the other way. Rutgers to field, spins, turns and fires it down low. Grinnell Park. Bumps off it by Griffin. The two take a tumble, and that will leave it back for Perry. Off the glass, that one will be iced. Boycer turning the wrong way. 4:54 remaining in the second.
Yeah, Boycer unfortunately not with the go-go gadget arms in his arsenal to be able to reach that one, so back down the other end we will come. Like I said, it's been interesting because there have been times this year in these kind of games in the league where Leeds have upped the intensity and we've wondered what the Lightning's answer has been. But here in the moment now, it feels like I say, I felt that the Knights were starting to get a bit of a read on the Lightning, started to up the intensity, but the Lightning have come right back at them. We're being treated to a superb game of hockey to end Saturday.
Said punch, counter punch. And every time the Knights have thrown one out, the Lightning have had a response as that one snapped on net by County. And Gospel makes another big save.
Big statement save there by Sam Gospel as well to deny Jordan County there. Didn't quite get the height on the shot he might have wanted there, County, because Gospel's been beaten up high a couple of times tonight, and eventually the puck does appear from within Sam Gospel's gear.
And for his next trick, he'll put his gear back on.
Well, if he pulls the rabbit out now, I fear for the rabbit, to be honest.
Face off to Gospel's right. County wins the draw. Back to Martelli. Thrown into the corner. County will get there ahead of Braden. Gulliver and move along with Stewart. Stewart at the top of the face-off surface finds Griffin. Griffin fans on the shot. Punched out the zone there by Ollie Endicott. And that's going to be deemed a hand pass. I suppose technically yes. The intent wasn't to make the pass there from Ollie Endicott, it was just to get it over the blue line.
No, indeed, but the problem being, of course, is it went from one man to the other. It did come off his hand. Unfortunately, it is a hand pass, and Ollie Endicott trying to argue it, which therefore goes back to something the referee told me was, I like hockey players. They don't know the rules very well. Dear me, the players are having an absolute nightmare at times trying to remember how face-offs work.
It's hard being a hockey player. Thrown into the corner. Grinnell Park. And Barron tied up. Knocked loose. Salisbury bobbles over his sticking out the zone. Shovelled on ahead. Venus. Putting pressure on McMullen. Wallace able to steal it away from Nihl. Turns, fires towards net. Gospel reaches out the glove, makes the save.
That's really good work there by the Knights. Venus there at the top of the crease. Tried to cause a little bit of a distraction for Gospel with Noah McMullen standing firm, driving him out of the way, so the Gospel has the eyes to see it. We'll definitely be interested to see the shots on goal at the end of this period, because it is, whilst it's been more busy for Jordan Headley than the first was, it's been very busy for Sam Gospel now.
There's another one fired on Gospel's net. Rebound loose, and the Knights able to recover as Gospel has laid one on Ross Venus behind the play. Not liking the attention that the Lightning forward has been giving him so far. Venus over the blue line again, tries to find Lawrence. Trickles through. Salisbury in front, forces another save. Forsberg. Back to Rutkiss, stepping in through traffic. Big block in front. Mac Howlett, that one looks like it hurt. Venus and McMullen tied up in the paint.
The net is off its moorings there, which the referee is trying to put back on at the moment, as Venus is holding on to Gospel's stick.
Venus turns, fires, bar down! The Knights will be furious with that one, but the Lightning do not care. 36-59, it's 4-2.
Well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Sam Gospel got away with laying one on Ross Venus, but now Ross Venus has laid one on Sam Gospel, battling in front of the net from a tight angle, and finds the top of the net again. The Lightning go 4-2 up, off a superb bit of work in front by Ross Venus, standing strong.
Venus's fifth of the playoffs. A nuisance in front, I think it can best be described as there. It's a goal-scoring nuisance now. Well, the Lightning have their biggest lead of the game. It's 4-2. It's 3 minutes to go in the second. And the Knights desperately need to come up with something. Solder loses out. Gallagher trying to offload to Braden in front. Can't reach him. Baldwin down to Gallagher. Hare spins away from Nags. Solder dispossesses. Gallagher clears the zone. Baldwin. Ahead, there's another Lightning player down here. Offside called.
Yeah, the Lightning player down in some discomfort over there. I think it looks like it's potentially Carter Hamill by the size and shape, as I can't see the number from this distance.
Venus from Forsberg is the fourth goal, and Hamill not liking the hit. It looks like he's taken exception to Dylan Hare as they both skate back to the bench. Harry Gulliver had a few words with him as well.
I mean, to be fair, Harry Gulliver has a lot of words for a lot of people as the season has gone on there, but clearly not liking the hit. But a bit optimistic there from Hamill to expect a gloves down helmet off centre ice, fighting them in a 2-goal game in the playoff semi-final.
Would be nice though. End the
be good for the highlight reel.
You say that, you're not the one cutting it. Gallagher bumped off the puck by Perry at the Knights' blue line. And ran a Hayward.
As you've said though, Joe, the Knights just... There's a lot of intent, but not a lot of output is the issue for Leeds at the moment. There's a lot of huff and puff, but the house is not being blown down.
Endicott drops off. Shot from no man's land. Matt Hayward! His last weekend in hockey, and he cuts the deficit in one. It's not the pretty goal, but it's a nice goal nonetheless. 38-03. And Matt Hayward brings home his first of the playoffs.
My sincere apologies there to MK fans, because I opened my mouth and look what happened there. And the rebound just bounces off of Jordan Headley at just the wrong angle, but the right angle for Matt Hayward, as you said, as he bids British hockey goodbye. He will hope for one more day, but he's certainly there, got his moment in the sun.
Little bit of puck luck goes a long way in this game. Now it's important for the Knights to build on it. Bissonnette tries them offload to Braden, can't on that occasion. McMullen. Snap stick on the pass from Nihl. Lightning the other way once more. Scramble in front, clears the blue line.
But great work as well from Nihl, losing his stick as it shattered into pieces. And just able to do something with it. Braden's handed his stick over now.
Hayward from Endicott, the Knights' third goal. Venus with Braden for company. Venus once again down in the paint. There's a penalty called on the Knights here. And that'll just be given straight to Matt Bissonnette. So penalty called, 38-47.
Very earnest discussion there inside Sam Gospel's crease as there is a stick stuck in the net. It tells you anything about just how much Ross Venus has been attempting to live
in the paint.
Literally in the paint.
Playing the big man role.
Well, it's worked for him so far.
We'll wait and see what the call is on this. I didn't see a signal given by the referees. 38-47. We saw a penalty on the clock at centre ice. Well, we're going for a puck drop with... There we go. It's on Sam... Well, hang on, it's gone as one.
It's definitely not on Jordan Headley.
No. Right, we'll hopefully fix that confusion for you shortly. Knights send puck over, clear the zone. Forsberg in a battle with Hayward. Headley out of the net play. Final minute of the second period. County. It is Finn Braden, 2 minutes for holding is what the penalty is, from what we can see on the game sheet.
Which, given the attention he was giving one of the Lightning forwards there in very close to his netminder, would make some sense.
Stewart battling in the corner, leaves it for Griffin. Back high, 30 seconds remaining in the period. Forsberg down low into the corner. That seems the wrong decision on that occasion. Bissonnette clears the zone.
Knights fans potentially looking for a trip there on Bissonnette, but nothing doing.
10 seconds now as the Lightning go for the slowly option once again. They're going to get over the blue line and get one shot away, and that one is immediately broken up off a stick. Well, we were bemoaning the slow start to that period, Anthony, but boy did that pick up.
Yes, just when we thought we were going to have a bit more of a tactical chess match of a contest, both teams decided, no, don't fancy that. Let's go mad at both ends of the ice, and we ended up with more end-to-end stuff. And though, like we say at the end of it, that bit of puck luck for MK, because a bit of puck luck, sorry, for Leeds. That goal just sitting up nicely for Matt Hayward. I mean, MK again have edged the play. They've been the better side. They've created more chances, but Leeds just aren't going away. And you feel that MK need to make them go away.
MK need to come out and put this game to bed. They cannot afford to sit back. The Knights, while they haven't been able to generate much quality in terms of their scoring chances or just their chances in general, they are still generating chances. And as I say, the bit of puck luck from Matt Hayward there, reading the play, getting the rebound, firing home. It's still too close to call in this last 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's so much going on at this point, and we think back to that first semi-final, which was a bit more of a chess match kind of thing, but that's kind of the way, certainly, that Peterborough like to play things a bit more slow, a bit more methodical. Both of these teams have realised that they need to press and they need to keep going with it. Certainly for MK, we talked about that. We wondered whether they'd keep going. Well, they had a little bit of a breather to start the second period, but they've kept going at it, and if they can keep going at it, they could get themselves into a playoff final with Peterborough.
Well, 20 minutes plus maybe overtime. All gas, no breaks, coming up in about 15 minutes. See you then. Anthony, right, we'll do the bad bit first, and then we'll do the nice bit.
Right.
So, the Leeds Knights, 1 goal down, 20 minutes to go. They haven't generated much quality. They're still generating chances. I feel like maybe they need to change something just to get level, just to change the atmosphere in this.
Yeah, I'm be very, very interested to see what line combinations we get for the start of this third period. Will we see a slightly shorter bench into the bargain as well? For MK, personally, I think if you're MK, you don't really need to change anything at the moment. Yes, you still have Leeds within touching distance, and that's one thing you definitely do not want to do. But MK, despite apparently losing the shot count in that second period, which again, slightly confusing to me, I had that much more equal than that. But MK have generated the higher quality chances, had more of the puck, done more with it. And so, ultimately, if you're MK, it's up to Leeds. Leeds are the ones who need to do something here. They're the ones that are a goal down. And like you said, I think Leeds need to change something up, just to, if nothing else, keep MK on their toes.
The Lightning, they have been almost faultless through 40 minutes. They have the lead. They've impressed with this aggressive forecheck. They've pinned the Knights back. Can they keep it up for the remaining 20 minutes? That's
the biggest issue here, is that the conditioning of the MK Lightning is going to come into play. They have some high-quality players who play some very good hockey. We have been treated to 40 superb minutes this evening. 20 minutes for the final.
Who will go through to take on the Peterborough Phantoms tomorrow afternoon? We are underway in the third and possibly final period. Venus thrown on the head. Lawrence in the corner, turned over. Knights with it. Quickly given back as that one almost banked in off Bissonette and behind Gospel.
Yeah, it's just everybody needing to be aware there, and fortunately for Matt Bissonette's skates not having that little extra bit of spring to them that you might have.
As the Knights come away with the puck, Nihl plays his own solder, meets it. Thrown into neutralised. Venus brings it the other way. We'll skate straight at McMullen. Venus has been a pest all night against this Knights defence. And it will continue through the third period as Wallace tries to throw it in deep. Venus collects the puck. Knights returns to full strength after finishing the penalty kill on the Braden Minor. Braden straight out the box, straight at the other end. Freshest man on the ice at the moment, but loses the puck to Nags.
Can't help but wonder if Braden might have been just getting a shot on there and just testing Headley early rather than going around the net and hoping that people would catch up with him there.
Endicott thrown on ahead. Hayward bobbling puck in the low area, painted area. We asked if there's a change. Kieran Brown currently out on this third unit with Endicott and Hayward. This is interesting. Try and maybe go line matching and generating just a bit of space for Brown.
Yeah, exactly. Ollie Endicott there to try and help manoeuvre some space out for him.
Perry gets the shot from the top of the face-off dots, and that is held by Headley.
Yeah, Bailey Perry's been superb so far. That shot probably not the best one he will ever make in his career. It's a bit of an off-speeder. I don't necessarily think it was an intentional off-speeder towards Jordan Headley on that occasion. As that unit stays out for the moment.
Face off to the left of Headley is won by the Lightning. Moved up to Ruckers. He's stopped by Griffin. Deflection off the skates of Haywood. Griffin able to hold off the forward, and the zone is cleared. Hamill at the other end.
Hamill, of course, we know is not going to be shy about getting stuck in, especially after he felt he was wronged in that second period.
Howler helps it along the way. Good job by the Lightning again on his forecheck. Forced to Field. Field gets a little bit of space. That just closed off the gap there between Bolden and Bracer. Back to the blue line. That will save Gospel. It's the doors in front of the Blaze player entrance.
It's great work by Tim Wallace, standing strong there.
Under a lot of pressure. Lightning away from the pile. Venus finds Lawrence, backhanded towards goal. That one over the bar on this occasion. Salisbury keeping the pressure on. Wallace. Lawrence snatches at that one, but the redirect from Venus almost goes through. Once again, Venus and the Knights defenseman tangled up.
That's Bailey Perry getting stuck in there. He swapped from being one-man shadow to another there, and I think he mightn't have gotten away with one there ever so slightly.
Gulliver and Baldwin battle for the puck. Not loose again. Lightning again. This forecheck has been relentless this evening. Salisbury turns, fires down low. Venus. Perry playing without a glove at the moment. Thrown in front. County. That one's just behind him. Knights the other way. Howlett tries to go through everyone. Braces to the front of the net. Headley makes the save. Didn't know much about the second opportunity. Lightning again. County. Net front to Gulliver. That one away from him. Knight's able to turn it over.
Huge save there from Jordan Headley. Just did really, really well to read the play. Didn't overcommit.
Hare. Moves back to Barron. To the front of the net. Off a skate in front. Barron again stuffs it in. No. Saved by Headley. The goal light's gone on. The goal is washed off.
It's gone through Headley, but after the referee has blown his whistle.
I think that is the key point. The whistle had already gone as it trickled through the Lightning netminder.
The officials, of course, going to have a discussion about this just to be sure. And a very firm no use of the technology.
Haywood pleading with Stephen Matthews. They will have the offensive zone draw, which is the important bit.
Well, Haywood there clearly saying, well, you've got the technology, why not use it? But I don't think we need the technology on that occasion. The whistle had very clearly been blown.
Yeah. Knights win the draw. To the front of the net, Bissonette goes, unable to get the tip on that occasion. Neely. Bissonette ties up Solder. Not able to bring it away. That pass well read. Braden now on this line with Barron and Bissonette. Barron draws man over to him, tries to go Neely, pinching in from the blue line. That one's off the stick, even off the glove by the looks of it of Hamill as he shakes one off, and the high up into the netting. 4:30 gone in the third.
Neely with the right idea there, just wanted to get it on net, but yeah, Carter Hamill is a better door than a window on that occasion, although he might be looking for a bucket of ice there momentarily, given where that puck appeared to deflect off of.
Matt Hayward and Stephen Matthews still having a conversation as Hayward skates to the face-off dot. So the Knights have made the change. Just an effort to get something for Kieran Brown.
It does appear that they've generated more as a result, it should be said.
Yeah. A necessary line change that has at least made the Lightning think more on the game plan. They now have to try and adjust. Martelli, best form of defence is offence as he Throws it into the corner. Hayward. Endicott, no tip on that one. Icing signalled and called.
Yeah, just I think it was either Perry or Endicott. They do look alarmingly similar front on from a distance, it must be said. But either way, one to the other. No contact, icing the call, and back down the wrong end for the Leeds Knights with 15 minutes and 2 seconds to play.
Again, much like in the first semi-final, it's all a bit nervous energy in the stands as well, as that shot is fired towards goal and deflected out the zone.
You can't blame it for being nervous energy off the back of what has been a superb game of hockey here this evening, played at a frantic pace. So, you know, if you're one for biting your nails, you might want to just try and stop now so you don't end up with a bit of an issue later on this evening.
All hard work from Ollie Endicott on the forecheck. Almost creates a shooting chance for the Knights. Down low, Brown. Martelli for company. Ollie Endicott being a nuisance net front side. That backhand pass is poor, and the Lightning bring it the other way. County, round for Garlis, blown tire. Jordan County cuts aside a second. Jordan County somehow misses the play, is blown dead. I believe it was Martelli going to net front, colliding with the Knights forward, or Knights D-man, sorry, into the net. No harm done there.
I think it's one of those ones as well where the defenseman was sort of stuck on the floor, I mean, been pushed into gospel. It would have resulted in the Lightning needing to get the puck off of the ice on the shot to go anywhere near the goal. But yes, the Lightning man has kind of initiated a chunk of that contact, but they're still going to get their face off in the zone.
Announcer Lee Keeper's trying to get some energy back in the building. Lightning win the draw.
I think the energy's in the building. It's just all in people covering their eyes with their hands at the moment.
Howlett holds off Stewart. Can't clear past Forsberg. And it goes to Gulliver. Weiser bearing down on it. County to the front of the net. All the way back to Forsberg. Steps in. Gospel makes the save. Covers up second time. Is that another tie-up behind the net? Both teams still playing the right side of the line at the moment.
I would never be amazed. I'll always be apologies. I'll always be slightly amazed at just how incredulous a hockey player can look that something hasn't been called when they are doing exactly the same thing to the other person. Two players very clearly holding on to each other, have fallen over with each other, but ultimately the other one is definitely responsible for the holding on this occasion.
Exactly. Both teams get changes in. 6 minutes gone in the third. Lightning still with the initiative at the moment, forcing the pressure on the Knights. Knights have made changes. They just feel like they need a little bit of zone time and try and get everything set up. And it won't come from this unless Barron can beat it out. Barron and Salisbury, it's fairly close, but it's given to the defending player on that occasion.
I had Salisbury just in front of the Knights forward there. Very close. Of course, Matt Barron's going to argue the point.
Argue the point. Slow stroll back to the zone. Get some air in the lungs. Go again.
With a few words from Mr. Matthews on the way past, of course, as well.
As is compulsory. Knights clear the zone. Helped on the way. Icing signalled again, not given. Barron tries to find Bissonette. Away from him goes Nice. Shovels along the boards to Rutgers. Bouncing puck, Grinnell Park. Brilliantly dealt with by McMullen. Barron chips it on ahead. Solder will get there first. Two Knights with him for company. Kept in the zone, but that bounces away from the forward. Grinnell Park plays on ahead. Offside called. Field jumping the gun.
This is a Bissonette with, as we talked about, that very long stick that he likes to play with. They're just catching Grinnell Park under the arm there and just slightly delaying what was going on there. It's taking the face-off outside of the Knight zone. Yes, as you say, the Knights have made the change. And it's made MK think about what they're doing, but the Lightning are still doing a really, really good job of just limiting the quality of the chances that the Knights are able to generate.
Hayward back to collect the puck. Finds his way through to Brown. He'll skate straight at James Griffin. Brown from an obscene angle, saved by Headley on that occasion. Martelli the other way. Driving the centre lane. Martelli, that one off the stick of Hayward and up high into the netting behind Sam Gospel's net.
And the Lightning will be happy to do that as well. Just take the, take the pressure, turn the puck over, and it doesn't matter if for the next 12 minutes and 41 seconds all you get is Malik Martelli just skating up the middle of the ice and a shot deflecting up into the netting, because when you're winning the game, it's Leeds who need to do something here. MK will be very happy to, they obviously want another goal in such a circumstance, just to twist the knife a little bit, but ultimately it's on the Knights now to make something happen.
They have to try and force the game. They've not been given an opportunity to do so in the first 7.5 minutes of this period. Wallace bundled over by Griffin in the corner. Puck loose to Gallagher. Martelli keeps that one in. Venus down low, spins away from the hit from Perry, but Perry jumps back in front of him. Martelli, that one just thrown goalwards, so no one in particular. Griffin pinching down, takes it away from Howlett. Venus. Ross Venus fashions himself a little shooting lane, gets on goal. Gospel forced into another save.
Yeah, just that bit of superior skating there from Ross Venus. As we'll see it here, goes into the corner with Bailey Perry, just able just to use the edges just to give himself that little bit of extra space, forces the man across and fires, but Sam Gospel equal on this occasion.
Time is not the friend of the double champions. Not enough to panic just yet, but they feel they need to at least generate some chances. To do that, they need to get the puck off the Lightning. Salisbury bobbling away from him, still with it. Just sells on finding Forsberg. Knights with it again. Bissonnette, long cross-ice pass, fired up. Braden, foot race, can't beat Forsberg to it. Stewart leaves it for Gulliver. Lovely drop pass to Cowney into the zone. Jordan Cowney on the end of his blade, tries to bank it in off the back of Gospel. No joy on that occasion.
I feel he might have done a little bit better shooting a little bit earlier there. You can see why he may not have wanted to, because he would have been forced to kind of go short side and look for a narrowing angle on Gospel. The argument of sort of overplaying it there. It's really interesting to think about the position that Peterborough in and what they did were in this position. Obviously a bit less time on the clock when Nathan Salem scored that go-ahead goal. But the Lightning appeared to be wanting to hold Leeds at bay by literally just continually pushing this pace.
Can't score if they're at the other end of the ice. And not any longer as they get into the zone with Kieran Brown. Endicott on the stickler from Wallace. Wallace does a very good job holding him off. Endicott does not give up on that though. The puck falls through to Lawrence. One-on-one. Dylan Lawrence with a chance, fired wide.
As Endicott struggling to get up at the other end of the ice. He was down there for a little while.
Solder across the zone. Rutgers stepping in front side. Lawrence in front of the net, unable to tip that one home. Nags through traffic again. Gospel makes a save and covers up on the rebound.
Great vision by Gospel there to see that through the traffic of the screen in front. Endicott sort of taken out of the play there by Tim Wallace and potentially feeling he should have got something, but ultimately nothing is called. The Lightning just keep going. And we approach. We've got just under 11 minutes, so nearly halfway through this period, and as you say, the Knights just aren't generating what they need to generate right now.
Can't get the puck for long enough at the moment, which is, again, it's very impressive work from the Lightning. They've strangled the life out of them so far, but it only takes a minute, and here comes Ethan Hare. Little pick play run by Howlett, little pocket of space, but again, the pass is poor. Boycer will settle on doing himself. Field playing the little hip check there, knocks him off balance. Hare can't dump it in the corner. Field can't clear, back to Hare. Two in front of the net. Howlett, Headley just reaches out and sticks a glove on top of the puck.
Brave move from Jordan Headley there with two men right at the side of his net, as there'll be a bit of an earnest discussion. quick exchange of addresses for the Christmas cards later this year.
560. That's number 1, 560. If you are the winner of today's 50-50,
this off will stay inside the zone. This is an important one for the Knights. They have to get this win. Just to generate something.
Yeah, and Finn Brain's been pretty good in the face-off dot, and you have to think that he's
going to lose it. Thanks to commentator's curse.
Thank you. That's what I'm here for.
And that one will be iced, so he'll get another go at least.
If in doubt, try again. No real shortening of the bench at the moment yet from the Knights as well. Was waiting to see if that happened, particularly on the back end.
Still a couple of minutes early for me personally. I think once you get to about 6 minutes is when you really start to shorten it. But then again, it's that top six that hasn't come to the party just yet. Similar to the Wildcats earlier. Puck back to Barron. Shot blocked by Max Stewart. Thrown goalwards. Bissonette with men draped all over him. Unable to get it goalwards. Forsberg. That pass broken up by Barron. Lightning can't clear. Gulliver a little too fancy on the first occasion. Gets it the second. The Lightning call for a high stick. That feels a bit generous to them on that one.
That was certainly one where everybody shouted for it and they got it. It was on the borderline for me. I can see why they've given it on that occasion. Leeds will start to feel like things are not going their way.
County over the blue line. Stopped by Griffin. That one just outside the zone for Forsberg. Will stay neutral ice.
And like all good hockey players, arguing the case, irrespective of the fact that it was very clearly over the blue line and it was offside. But if you can't argue in a game like this, when can you do it?
Exactly. 9:44 remaining in period number 3. Knights win the draw. They need to get in the Lightning zone and they need to start cycling the puck, and that is not how it's going to be done. Nihl's pass is too far away. Hayward blocks the breakout attempt. And Lightning again just able to play keep away. Someone needs to step up. Could Matt Hayward be the hero, as that one's called offside? Hayward half the deficit just before the end of the second. He's been the most forward-thinking, shall we say, of the Knights forwards so far in this game.
Yes, I would definitely agree on that front. He's certainly been able to generate a little bit more going forward, and that's why they seem to have been leaning quite heavily on this newly formed Hayward-Endicott-Brown line that they've put together for this third period, but still just unable to get quite the space they need. The problem is that all it will take is one mistake.
Another pass that's not to tape. It's away from Nihl. He'll have to go all the way back to collect it as we tick to 9 minutes remaining in the third.
Still plenty of time for Leeds to be able to generate something, but they do have to generate something.
Fired up the Brown. He'll just tip it on ahead. Headley out of his net to play. Gives it back to Brown. Tries to find Hayward. Tied up. Leaves it for Endicott. Brown to the front of the net. Endicott snatches in that one. It's one wide of the goal. Penalty called on the Lightning. Well, it's a high stick call come 51-27. And now is the chance the Knights needed.
Yeah, Ben Solders just caught Matt Hayward up high there by the look of it. And unfortunately for him, right in front of the referee, down in that corner.
Well, Matt Barron fired a rapid power play goal to get the Knights back at 1-1. As Ollie Endicott tries to get the Leeds fans to make some noise for the boys, as it were.
But as you say, it's now, they've got to do something. They've got to do something with it. This power play has been pretty effective, even though they didn't obviously score on the other attempts that the other attempt that they've had. other attempts they've had. But ultimately, this is the problem. This is the problem for the Lightning, and this is one of those moments that will live in their nightmares should something go their way.
If ever there was a team who could score on this, it's the Knights. They win the draw. Bobbling puck, collected by Braden. McMullen. Just the 2 minutes for Solder on the high stick on this occasion. Brown down to Bissonnette, finds Barron. That one knocked out of his skates. Brown will go back to Bissonnette, pinned in the corner. Griffin over to collect. So is Barron. Knights with it. Bissonnette, short side, save Headley.
Bissonnette just couldn't quite get the puck off the ice. If he'd managed to get that a little bit higher and over the pad, that was going into the back of the net. But it goes straight into the middle of the left pad. Good anticipation from Headley as to where he needed to position himself.
Barron into the zone again. Gives it back to McMullen. That one's back to the blue line. There's no one there in a black shirt. Gospel out of his net to play it. 1 minute gone on the Solder minor. Brown, that one blocked by Venus. Martelli turns, fires. Neely keeps it in the zone. Lawrence trucks the man. Brown drops it off. Barron, lovely little toe drag. Shot saved. Hayward snatches at it and misses. Neely, down low to Hayward again. Back to the point, Neely. Hayward tries to back one in. Punches it back up and over. Salisbury tied up by Braden. 25 seconds left on the minor. Martelli collects the puck. Turns and just fires it out the zone.
Really good penalty kill from that unit there by the Lightning. Just being patient, just knowing that Leeds are going to move it around quick, knowing what's coming, and ultimately having an answer when it counted.
Neely immediately stopped by Ed Nags as he tried to get over the blue line. That will do it for the man advantage. Neely, beautiful pass. Hayward shot, pushed aside, sorry, Endicott shot, pushed aside by Headley. Forsberg, Lightning clear, the bounce is favourable. Falls to Stewart, waits for the cavalry. Turns, fires, that one. Gospel did not see it at all as it flies over the bar. Griffin will turn and go back to his own zone. Just over 6 minutes remain. Griffin, long stretch pass to Stewart. Head to County. Drives up the far side, that one broken up. Boycer collects. Here go the Knights. Howlett, drop pass, Boycer, trickle shoot to Braden.
It's all just starting to get very, very nervy now from the Knights as well. It's starting to become a bit more panicked, a bit more pressured, and they need to do it, but they can't make it too easy for the Lightning, because ultimately the Lightning are just letting them come towards them, holding it, getting out of the corner and just dumping it down the other end at the moment.
Much like our first semi-final, the seconds tick down. The Lightning doing what they need to and are quite happy just to keep it 150 feet the other way. Barron, cross-ice pass. Into the zone come the Knights. Deep hair changing. Backdoor chance all the way through to Barron. Headley all at sea. Bissonnette shot, and I think that's another one that Jordan Headley's kept out. Salisbury will just clear the zone.
He's done it again there. Just when Matt Bissonnette called the play, and it went tape to tape, and Jordan Headley throws out the left leg again, says no.
Forsberg. Given away. The Knights with it. Brown through the middle. 4 white shirts surround him. Neely pinching in. Bumped off the puck by Salisbury. Lightning clear. Icing waved off. McMullen deemed able to play it before the goal line. Gets a return pass from Neely's as they're coming together in the Knights zone between Neely and Rutgers.
4 minutes to go, and you can feel the tension rising here.
Howlett can't get past Solder. Lovely breakout pass. Gulliver jumps the gun. He won't like it, but he's a long way offside on that one.
He looks to the heavens, but the fact that there is very little argument from Harry Gulliver makes me feel that even he slightly knew he was probably ahead of that one. As we see the replay here, as Bissonette stands his ground at the top of the crease, gets the puck from Barron, and just another fantastic leg save by Jordan Headley. That left pad again for the second time this period, denying Matt Bissonette.
Face off on the MK side of the pad. That one will be blown dead. Both sets of wingers approaching in. Hayward wins the draw. Over to Dylan Hennett. Played on ahead. Hayward drops it off for Howlett. Being kept away from goal. Hayward. As Nags blows the tire. Hayward with a chance. Shot saved by Headley. Rebound bobbling loose. He'll hold on.
And well, ultimately there, Matt Hayward and Ed Nags, knowing how this works, that Hayward's got the right to go for it, and Nags has the right to stop him, rather than having another big argument there. Just steps out from behind the goal line, turns and fires, but the angle favouring Jordan Headley all the way.
3:36 in territory of Gospel heading to the bench. Big face-off between the teams. Hayward, you feel, has to win this one for the Knights.
A slightly augmented line again here. Now we've got Hayward out with Boycer and Howlett.
Lightning give him the warning on this one. And they win the draw. Puck clears the zone. Come back in, delayed offside, Solder collects. Fired up this near side, Stewart just tips it on, helps on its way. Griffin is the man up for the Knights. Dylan Hare loses it, Hamill with a shot, forces a save out of Gospel.
I think that might be Harry Gulliver actually.
Harry Gulliver, I just saw the red net go. I think that was all I went on. Great fired on that.
Great work by Gulliver there to try and craft something as he was sort of losing an edge and having to react very, very quickly to it.
Lightning win the draw, Martelli. Try and fire it down low to Wallace. Loses a tyre, evading Griffin. He's quite happy to hold it in the corner. Venus takes a tumble again. Bissonette first at a loose puck. Fired up to Barron, tips on its way, icing waved off. Martelli will get there first. Bissonette, here's the chance, Brown can't get on his tape, thrown to netwards. Barron tied up, couldn't get the shot away.
Huge chance there, and again, yeah, the Knights have changed their lines back to as they were.
Bissonette thrown in front, Brown reaches out, grabs it, back to the point, shot, bouncing around off the netting behind the goal. Jordan Headley just flashing leather, didn't know where it was. 2:29 to go.
No timeout called yet by the Knights. Oh no,
you were just saying?
Done it again.
Timeout Leeds Knights, 2:29 to go.
I looked down at the bench, nobody makes a hand signal. As soon as I turn away, he made the hand signal. That's not fair.
It's cheating. So here we go.
But probably the right time to do this, though.
Does Gospel stay on the bench? That's the question.
2.5 minutes to go feels a little early.
Teams are a lot more aggressive with it. I agree. It feels too early. It feels like it should be around the 90-second mark, but it would not shock me. The Knights have the firepower to tie this up. We asked the question, can the Lightning hold out? Can they keep it up? They've kept it up for 57.5 minutes.
Now, obviously the point being that at some stage you will pull your netminder. But MK have been so good defensively in terms of just smothering the puck where it is and then spacing themselves back out to cover the zone. Almost adding another man to the zone would cause Leeds more of a problem because there's even less space to work with. But they're going to have to. Sam Gospel returns to his net for now, maybe waiting to make sure that they secure the puck first.
Just as you were talking there, I was watching the eyes on it, and Gospel was asking Ryan Aldridge what to do, and Aldridge waved him off, told him to go back to his net too early. Here we go. Face off to Headley's right. tied up. Bissonette brings it away. Tries to fire one in from the goal line. Headley firmly pinned to the pipe.
Nice idea there from Matt Bissonette as well. Just not too much time lost off the clock, keeping Jordan Headley honest against his post there. As again, everybody's encroaching into the face-off circle.
Lightning win the draw. Salisbury collects. Tries to clear it around the boards. Wallace completes the job, and it falls to Ross Venus. Venus inside his man. Turns on the forehand shot, deflected wide.
Again, possibly an instance of overplaying there as the defenseman stands his ground.
Cleared up. Bissonette, bouncing puck. Final 2 minutes of the third. County drops it off. Gulliver. That one paddled away by Gospel into the netting. 1:54 to go. The Lightning fans get loud once more. It is a sea of pink, and it is very, very noisy now. They sense what they're on for.
They certainly do, and they'll be answered by the Leeds Knights fans over to our left, Joe. But ultimately, took the time out, made the plan. The plan fell apart for Leeds pretty quickly there. We're now back down the other end with 1:54 to go. No chance for Gospel to come out of his cage.
They don't win the draw. Nags dumps it in the corner. Hayward collects. The Knights simply must get up the ice. Here is the chance. Gospel, one eye on the bench as Braden carries it over the line. Ryan Aldridge just not looking at his netminder as Gospel has to skate back as Nags comes over the blue line, winds up, fires that one off the shoulder of Gospel, and will go all the way round back to Stewart at the Lightning blue line. That one's off an official in front. Howlett has to turn, fire into the corner on the delayed offside.
Knights still don't really have control of the puck though. Gospel still stood in his crease.
McMullen can't keep that one in the zone. 1:07 left. Gospel goes now as Barron crosses the blue line. Barron fired over the bar and off the glass. Turnover. Forsberg will just flip it up and out the zone. That's not going to be icing. Someone has to go get it. 50 seconds. McMullen. This Knights team, it looks tired, but have they got enough energy for one final burst to send us to overtime? 39 as they cross the blue line. Dropped off once more. Turnover. Forsberg can't clear. Barron again, but they're forced to check back up the Knights.
They just don't look like they have the idea, Joe. They need something, anything.
Barron, he'll drive it up this near side. Griffin forces him wide. Collected by Blaser. Back to Barron, 15 seconds. They need a shot, anything. Bissonette trying to find Brown, winds up, fires! Kieran Brown! When you need a big moment, there's no better man! Kieran Brown, 59-50, sends us to overtime.
Cometh the hour, cometh the captain. What a moment. Kieran Brown was born for moments like this. He cranks it from distance. Just a bit of a daisy cutter, barely an inch off the ice, and he beats the left pad of Jordan Headley that had denied Matt Bissonette so often this period. What a game.
Brown's fifth of the playoffs. 9.3 on the clock. And I'm getting death threats from our producer for saying overtime. Oops.
Oh, the pizza and our dinner can wait, Joe. We want more of this.
9.3 on the clock. The Lightning win the draw. Over the line, Blaser just jumps on it, clears it. That will do it. Nags from the blue line is blocked. What's better than 60 minutes of playoff hockey? Well, we're getting 10 more. Overtime rules, as was announced on Friday. 10 minutes, 5-on-5. Next goal wins. If we do not get a goal in the next 10 minutes, we will then go to the shootout. Anthony, we said they needed a big moment. They got it.
We spent 59 minutes with Kieran Brown marked out of this game, unable to get space. He had Archie Salisbury sat in him for 2 periods. Then he had more people sat in him for more time of it. We're going to get a minute's break here before anything else, but then just in that moment, just when Leeds really, really needed something, the captain called his own number.
So the Knights, momentum, all going the way of the champs. You can see it there on the bench. Everyone take a moment. They've done the hard part. Now we just reset, we go again. The Lightning, that is an absolute gut punch to give it up. You held out for that long, and that's when it bursts.
We talk and talk about what champions do, and we talk about those moments that kind of make stuff. The Milton Keynes Lightning have been the better side across this game. That's not an unfair thing to say, but ultimately Leeds are relentless again. And now, Joe, after what has been 60 minutes of one of the best games we've had at Coventry for quite some time, we're going to get more of it.
10 more. The first 10-minute overtime in National League history. Obviously, it copies the Elite League now. Here we go. Lightning with possession. Martelli. Over to Griffin. Dumps it in from centre ice. Nihl helps on its way. Bissonette. And he's just thrown across. Here come the Knights. Momentum and confidence. It does silly things, and so do silly turnovers. Lightning the other way. Shot fired on goal. Gospel holds on. Stewart and Nihl. And the men in the zone.
Just a rare lapse there.
Goal 4 for the Knights. It's just been given to Kieran Brown. No assist. That will probably get rectified post-game. So keep your eyes on the website to find out who gets the apples on that one.
A rare error there from Matt Barron. They just gave Max Stewart the space to skate into in a big hard shot that Sam Gospel was equal to.
Knights win the draw. You can just tell that that goal has given them a little bit of an adrenaline boost. Boycer tries to find Howler. Wallace with the intercept. Over to Lawrence. Into the zone. 4 black shirts on him. Lawrence still able to get a shot away, but it's wide of Gospel's right-hand post. That one will trickle through and turned over as it
just sort of died against the stanchion there, Joe, so they tried to wrap it around.
I was half looking for it to go all the way out the zone. Lightning able to recover though. Cross-ice pass to no one in a white shirt. Just thrown into neutral ice. Field is there. Thrown on ahead. Icing called. Field the wrong side of the centre ice line when he did it. A minute and 13 gone in overtime. I feel I should say at this point as well, 10 minutes of overtime taking place on the ice as it is. If we go to a shootout, the Zamboni will come out. It's going to cut a few strips down the centre of the ice, and then we will reset for the shootout. Just so everyone is aware at home.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Lightning win the draw again. Salisbury beats his man to the puck. Forsberg, forced back by Hare. Just thrown up ice, kicked on by Endicott. Washes out the icing call. McMullen is there. Who's going to be your overtime hero? As the puck falls on Ethan Hare's stick. Throws it ahead into the corner. Forsberg. Goes back to Salisbury.
Is that top line slowly starting to transition out and back onto the ice for the Knights?
Similarly for the Lightning. Forsberg. That one is bad. Has to try and make up for it. Ties his man up. The Knights with it. Brilliant pass. Sliding block there in front from Max Stewart. Lightning the other way. Cowney over the blue line. The Knights on an offside. Cowney tries to find Gulliver. Gospel with a save. I don't think that would have counted anyway. Gulliver again. That one forced wide.
There's the call.
Well, are we going to get life tax calls here? 62-21, the arm is up.
And the high stick is called. The Knights' door is open, which is a bit of a string. Oh no,
no, it is going to be the
Lightning. It's just Gulliver.
Harry Gulliver is going to sit 2 minutes for high sticking. 62-21. And you just sense with the momentum they've built in the last, well, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the Knights are going to fancy their chances of stealing the game right here, right now.
It's that bit of belief, that little bit of belief that they managed to carve out for themselves with 9 seconds of the game to play.
Face off to Headley's left. The Lightning win the draw. Solder tries to tie up Bissonette. Won't clear the zone. Brown. That one does not find a man. Lawrence clears. The biggest penalty kill of the Lightning season right now. Barron over the blue line. McMullen tied up by Wallace. Braden off the side of the cage. Bounces really high out. Brown shot. That one's wide. Barron finds Bissonette. That pass broken up. Solder turns, fires out the zone. That will go the length of the ice. 1:15 left on the Gulliver Minor.
That little bit of chaos that started coming in front of Headley's net again there. That's what's yielded gold for the Knights.
Brown coast to coast. Looks for an option. Drops it off for Neely. Down low and Boycer. Neely again. Boycer fired across zone. Brown! That one blocked in front. Big block as well. Archie Salisbury wearing one for the team.
Had to put it on the line there, but the Knights can go now.
Poor change. Knights into the zone. Front of the net. Endicott can't get a stick on it.
Just out of his reach there, but Neely's kept it in at the blue line.
Big hit from Rutkus on Neely. The Lightning clear. 30 seconds left on the Gulliver Minor. Now it's the Knights' turn to assert all the pressure into the zone. Endicott under control, turns, fires, saved by Headley at the top of the paint. Boyson launches himself towards the puck. That one fired wide. Kept in the blue line, shot, sticked aside by Headley. That one up into the netting. Play blown dead. 7 seconds left on the Gulliver Minor.
Breathless stuff here in overtime. As the Lightning, of course, still have their timeout to use should they wish to use it at any point. But you just feel the Knights are pushing high and they're pushing hard. They've got to be careful, though, because the Lightning can transition so quickly. Even though the momentum has shifted towards Leeds, it just takes one moment and MK could be up the other end in the blink of an eye.
Bissonette attempts a pass, blocked by Nags. Back to the blue line. Shot saved by Headley. Rebound loose. Bissonette with his 80-foot long stick. Can't poke it past Headley. The Lightning returns to full strength. 5:37 remaining in overtime.
As Gulliver returns to the ice, of course, a big penalty kill there from your biggest of your penalty killers in Jordan Headley, making a couple of great saves and one there right as the clock ticked away. 5:37 left of this overtime. We're into anything can happen territory as the Knights win the face-off too well.
Yep, fired into no man's land. Perry back to collect. Tipped on ahead, icing waved off. Running around the boards. Venus gives it up to Cowney. Cowney into the zone. Jordan Cowney backhanded towards goal. Gospel makes a save and covers up at the second time of asking.
Discretion, the better part of valor there from Sam Gospel. You'd think earlier in the game, given where the positioning of the defenseman, you might have just knocked it out and let him carry on the play. Not here, not now, wrong time.
I do hope that this stream isn't going to cut out as we go to the penalty shootout now. Yes, I know, tempting fate. It happened last week, could happen again. I've just looked at the clock. We should be okay. Lawrence wins the draw. Forsberg fired through traffic, blocked in front. Forsberg keeps it in at the blue line. Boycer with a big block and a second. Cycle down low. Hayward jumps in front of Venus. Boycer can't clear the zone. Rutkiss hammered into the boards. No arm goes up. That one is stunning. Nihl kicked on ahead by Hayward, and icing is called.
Now, I'm interested as to why that one hasn't been called, because as soon as I've seen that, you've heard me, ladies and gentlemen, on the stream go, oh dear, mostly because I thought that was as clear a boarding as we might have seen at any point during this season. Has he turned at the last minute there and put himself in a vulnerable position, maybe?
It's the only thing it could possibly be. Face off to Gospel's right. Halfway through this overtime period. Tied up. Lawrence brings it away from the pile. Dylan Lawrence driving net side. Backhand! Dylan Lawrence pulls off the OT winner for the Lightning with some sick mitts in front. And we've got the Ashes tomorrow.
Well, after that massive gut punch that they were given by Kieran Brown, Dylan Lawrence wins the face-off, stands strong, drives the net, and finds the backhand past Sam Gospel.
Gospel went for the poke check. Lawrence read it like a book.
They've all gathered around him down to our left as well. Apologies, no, who's that down there in the corner? Someone potentially in a bit of discomfort. It might be
Matt Hayward.
It must be Matt Hayward, yeah. And well, there were dreams of something bigger in Yorkshire this weekend, but they could not ride the Lightning.
I thought for a moment there that the Lightning might have folded when that game time goal goes in with 9 seconds to go. You see it so often in hockey where the team that ties it up that late just carries that wave of momentum forward and finishes the job. They held out, they had the kill, they had the confidence from that, and Dylan Lawrence pulls off one of the most, well, important dangles of his career to send the Lightning to tomorrow night's final.
We have to, and whilst you can credit the fantastic game that we've been witness to, the Lightning have probably edged this on the balance of the play. Yes, they've won it on the scoreboard, but it was then they forced the Knights out of their comfort zone. They forced them to adjust in that third period. They had to change their lines up to then change them back to get that goal to send them to overtime. The Leeds Knights were forced to try and play in MK's world, and yes, they hung with them for 60 minutes, but they couldn't get the job done. And Dylan Lawrence, who's been such a massive offensive part, as he said, season blighted by injury, but has come back. And after missing out on Coventry last year, the MK Lightning fans have a date with destiny tomorrow afternoon and the Peterborough Phantoms again.
Well, no more Grand Slam in the National League. The Phantoms will stay the only team. The Phantoms obviously have their own playoff trophy. They have to defend it, and now they have to defend it against their biggest rivals.
A local derby to bring down the curtain on the 24-25 National Division season.
We started the season with the M4 derby, of course, between the Wildcats and the Bees. We're going to end it with the Ashes.
We are in for a treat tomorrow. And that's alongside a repeat of what Billingham and Slough managed to do last weekend in Sheffield. They will go to war at midday and then at 4 p.m. The Lightning needed extras to have an answer, but they had the answer.
Streams available online if you haven't bought them already for our 2 games tomorrow.
But after what has been a seesaw back and forth war between the two best teams in this division over the course of the entire season, What do the Lightning have tomorrow for Slava Kulikov and the Phantoms?
Have the man in the matches shortly. Lawrence unassisted the 5th goal. Obviously, the Knights, a fantastic season, without doubt. 2 out of 3 trophies. They held off the title challenge of the Lightning for, well, the longest they have in the last 3 years. At the end of the day, obviously, it stings now. It always does when you lose in a playoff semi-final.
Yeah.
But once they've got into the hotel bar, they've had a few drinks, they can look back at this season and think, do you know what? We've done really well. Again.
It's massively impressive where you can be put onto the back foot for so much of a game and still find a way to get yourself back into it. And that's the beauty of this division, is that top to bottom teams have found ways to do that across the year, but we've been treated to 65 and a bit minutes worth of absolutely exceptional hockey as Bo Neely picks up the man of the match for the Knights.
Man of the match for Leeds Knights goes to Bo Neely on this occasion. Very hard to pick one for the Knights. There's so many good performances in the end. Back end, Neely Imperious gets his goal as well. Lots of good work from Matt Bissonette, Finn Braden, Matt Barron, the likes, and Sam Gospel. Even though the scoreboard says 5, lots of big saves.
We do need, of course, to say the word as it is all done. The door is closed on the hockey career of Matt Hayward, a fantastic servant of this game wherever he has gone.
Yeah, Matt Hayward leads the Leeds Knights on their lap of honour to the applause of the crowd that has remained the Lightning block. Gives them their appreciation, as do the Lightning players off to our right, and as do us up in the Coventry booth. A man more than deserving of the appreciation he's been given for all the services given British hockey.
Well, I think this is going one of 2 ways for the Lightning man of the match, Joe.
It goes to Malik Martelli.
The 3rd way it is.
Yes. Option A, option B, or the little known option C is selected. Nothing against Malik. A fantastic defenseman, fantastic night. But I feel like in big moments like that, you almost have to pick someone like Jordan Headley for some of the saves made. Dylan Lawrence for pulling off the highlight reel for the overtime winner. Lots of options as well. Ross Venus, a pest all night as well. A very good performance from the Lightning.
A brilliant performance from the Lightning, a team that's known for its offensive firepower. And you think as well, you think about what they're going to need to do as Matt Hayward leaves the ice for the last time. You think about what they're going to have to do. We talked about Peterborough dragging Swindon into the trenches earlier this afternoon. Well, Milton Keynes showed the Knights that they will go down into those trenches. A criticism, of course, sometimes of the Lightning that they haven't, when they don't get things their own way, they don't necessarily know what to do. Well, they adapted their game plan today, and it beat the Knights when it counted. And yes, maybe it'll be a bit of a problematic one for the Lightning. They've got to quickly regain a lot of energy ahead of tomorrow. And I said earlier that maybe that the Phantoms would be smiling somewhere where they were about how much these 2 sides were taking out of each other. But the Lightning have showed that they have got it in the tank. Tomorrow promises a lot.
Well, I'm being given the signal to quickly wrap up as we get to 8:15. Practically a good time to be finishing the final game of the day in the playoffs this year. We have 2 games tomorrow. The Division 1 Championship, the Billingham Stars take on the Slough Jets. As Anthony said, 12 o'clock face-off. Please make sure you get your stream for that if you haven't got it already. Last week was amazing. And then the curtain comes down. The final game in the National League season, the Peterborough Phantoms take on the Milton Keynes Lightning, 4 p.m. here on the stream. Anthony, we've had 2 barn burners today. The 2 games tomorrow could tear the roof off the building.
I am so looking forward to seeing what the National Division fans will make of Billingham and Slough, 2 brilliant teams. It's Division 1's big showcase in some ways, where they get a stage in front of fans that don't normally get to see them. If you have not seen these 2 sides, you are in for a treat. I know people will sometimes say, I'm not worried about that game. Get this game. You are not going to be disappointed by what those 2 sides put on tomorrow afternoon.
Well, it's been a long 7 hours, but for the Drop the Puck lot who are behind me, or I'm getting death stared at for not wrapping up quick enough, From Anthony, from myself, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow back here for 2 more title games. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.